arrested from the time that incident happened in Mwiki, where I was with the former deputy president. Why? Because they do not want people to air their views freely, and they know when the people's deputy president go to a place and he talks, people are listening. And what they do not want to happen is that they do not want leaders to pass opposition messages across, and that is their greatest.
You know, I totally agree, Dimuri, with the Archbishop Ole Sapit, because I mean we must also try to differentiate. Let us meet in our field. If you want to do a political rally, let me call, like what I did on Sunday, call up politicians in my constituency, did an empowerment program to support the mama boggers and the border. We raised some funds towards that cause, but let us not use the platform of the church, you know, to pray politics, because it's quite unfortunate. You know, church is a sacred place, and you see now with such a scenario, because now they are talking about that. We also hear that, you know, they had come to us for their money because 1 week before, I don't know whether it is, and I wanted to ask him, I thought that we're going to be with him on the panel, Mheshimiwa Gakuya, that he had organized gangs to go and heckle at certain politicians. They were not paid, so the opportunity that they saw that he would be on a certain place. So, and you know, sometimes
we're losing the conversation here. It's reverse psychology. It's
not reverse psychology, but we're just saying. That's what I'm saying. He has just mentioned it, and I said it's quite unfortunate. Okay. And actually, what happened at that church should not happen. Okay. Should not be even a sober society. Because we have never seen interference.
What the civil society is doing here,
yes,
is a midterm assessment, yes, of President William Ruto's time, yes, in office. Yes. They did not just talk about freedom of expression, they've talked about deteriorating governance, rampant human rights violations that have been captured and well covered in media, including issues of abductions, where even a member of cabinet came out and said this is a problem, economic despair, and now systemic repression is where issues of freedom of expression and suppression come up. So we've only tackled systemic repression, but these others we've not. For a midterm assessment like this from the civil society, this is damning for the president. Hence this headline, Kenya's face of tyranny and waste.
You know, civil society, people. You know, they have been here long enough, and you know their history. So they are always tilting to the negative. So you don't expect them to give you any thumbs up on what you are doing. So that is the accessible. They have been doing it for the last, since we got independence. I doubt whether they have ever given any government a thumbs up.
Positive.
So, a positive criticism. You know, in fact,
there's nothing that is called positive criticism.
No, I'm saying, you know, we are not trying to, what they have written is new. This is something they have been doing since independence. They always criticize the sitting government, and that is their work. We should accept like that, and we move on. The only thing we want to say is that as a people, in terms of exercising the freedoms that we have been given by the Constitution, let us also have constraint so that we don't go beyond. Yes. We don't, like, if you have been hired as a goon, you should know that picking a stone and throwing on other people is wrong. Yes. So, but
on this issue,
you know, sometimes, may I finish? Sometimes this constitution is written for very sober people. You know that. Very sober.
We cannot disregard any part of it.
You know, if you are like freedom of...
that's why we cannot hit our
constitution. You can demonstrate. The constitution expect a very orderly demonstration where you just add your views, yes, you go back home to the office of the president, you give your hand over, you go to parliament, you hand over, you go, and you are guided by the police. But when now the demonstration becomes hooliganism, yes, you try beating people, destroying shops, in the name of freedom of... you know, that's why I'm saying this constitution was not written for people, for the ones who are demonstrating.
Fred, I want to say...
Back to this conversation, and before I come to you, Akili, Bwana Kawanjiko, you had said something interesting. Yes. You said there are gaps